As well as those 70 or so people that were injured, the death toll has now risen to 5 from yesterday's clashes. Among them was 1 policeman and 4 others assumed to be protesters. The clashes yesterday have really sort of seen the protests remain defiant. They say they will continue in their push to oust the Prime Minister. Just this morning, about 45 minutes ago, we saw a convoy of protesters just going past where we are here, heading to the Prime Minister's temporary office in the north of the capital. It's important to point out that while many of the protesters on the streets are indeed peaceful, unarmed protesters, there is an armed element to this protest movement. We saw them going past earlier in flak jackets, balaclavas, and really it's turning into less of a protest in some ways, as we saw yesterday, and into these occasional sort of armed skirmishes between security forces, excuse me, and the protesters. So there is concern that this escalation of violence that we've seen over the last few weeks will continue. We've seen over 16 people killed and nearly 700 injured now in the last 3 months in the capital, Bangkok.
And the focus of these protests is the Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. Now, she's set to be charged in a corruption probe and could be impeached. Is she going to stand down?
Well, under these charges, if she is officially indicted by the National Anti-Corruption Commission on these charges of corruption linked to a rice pledging scheme, she will have to stand down under the Constitution and allow for another caretaker Prime Minister to be appointed in her stead. But this is really one of a number of legal battles facing the government, as well as the protests on the street. And the country is really facing short-term, indeed, a political and constitutional crisis. And even long-term, it's very difficult at the moment with 2 sides really entrenched and no real mediation in the middle to come to a compromise. There's this real battle taking place in the country over the future of this country. We're seeing this movement on the streets today is backed by largely urban middle class and the old elite they see in the country, who are dissatisfied with these governments that are being voted in by the now majority, which is the rural classes in the north and northeast of the country. And it's hard to see how parliamentary democracy is going to move forward with these 2 sides not accepting the choices of the others. And we are indeed fear that there could be more violence coming ahead for Thailand.